So Brighton is a master. This is the best team in the world. The best.
Brighton are the best run club in the world. How many players have they produced?
I bloody love it if they won something. United's my team, but if it was United against Brighton for the title, obviously it's still...
I did like Brighton, but as I say, the TikTok, they can piss off.
12 years ago, Brighton were in League One. Now they are playing European football and are in the same group as Ajax. And all the teams around the world, including Manchester City, are trying to copy them. Brighton's transfer strategy is phenomenal and has allowed them to make ridiculous profits. So in this video I'm going to be going through Brighton's most expensive 11, where we look at the most expensive players Brighton have sold. Watch till the end to find out how much this monstrous squad is worth. But first we need to understand how they do it. People believe that Brighton are the only club that are in for these so-called hidden gem players and find them on some supercomputer. However, the likes of Evan Ferguson had trials at clubs like Man United and Liverpool but chose Brighton instead. And Moises Caicedo was linked to clubs such as Manchester United, AC Milan and Club Brugge. So if everybody else has scouted these hidden gems such as Caicedo, who Chelsea bought for £115 million, why do they choose Brighton over football giants like AC Milan and Manchester United? Unlike these other big clubs, Brighton know exactly what they're looking for in a player that fits their play style and systems. And isn't just a good player, and that's why Chelsea are in a mess at the minute, as they are just buying good player after good player with top bonus unlimited cash, and now they have 20 world-class players but do not fit together in a team. Brighton have also gambled a lot of signings on young potential talents and have made the third most signings in the Premier League since the 2016-17 season. However, unlike the rest of the clubs, they have been extremely cheap signings, because the more players you bring in, the higher chance of one of them being worth £100 million one day. What Brighton do when they sign lots of these £2 million signings is they send them out on loan to clubs where they will be able to develop in a team that has a similar style to Brighton, and then when they're ready, they give them a chance in the first team. This is what happened to McAllister. Brighton bought him in 2019, then loaned him back to the club he was at, Argentinos Juniors. Then he developed but wasn't yet ready for Brighton, so he was loaned out to bigger club Boca Juniors. And after a season there, he was brought back to Brighton, where he was now ready to play in the Premier League. Another reason why people choose Brighton is because they give their under-23s players the most minutes out of any other Premier League club. So after they have gone through the loan system that Brighton have, they will get a chance to play Premier League football. People are now going to Brighton as they know how good a club they are to progress at. So don't be surprised if Brighton have lots more young talented players coming through who they eventually sell for big money and reap the rewards of the system they have built. Now you understand how the Seagulls do it. Let's get into this team. We're going to be playing the 4-2-3-1 formation, which Brighton specialise in. Starting off in net with Robert Sanchez, who Brighton picked up when he was just 15 years old from Spanish side Levante after being loaned out twice to Forest Green Rovers and Rochdale. He managed to make 87 appearances for Brighton in the Premier League. However, De Zerbi wanted a different styled goalkeeper, so was sold to Chelsea for £25 million. From one Spaniard to another, Marc Cucurella, the most expensive left-back in football history, signed for Brighton in 2021 from Getafe for £18 million, and after one whole season at the club and winning Brighton's Player of the Season, he moved to Chelsea for £65 million. Next up for the squad is Dan Burn, who spent 4 years at the club and zero ball knowledge. Theo Baker managed to predict this transfer.
Dan Burn is the man that you think is going to revolutionise Newcastle United's defence.
Inshallah.
And was sold to Newcastle United for £15 million, and he is actually a Geordie, unlike the 52,000 fans they have suddenly just attracted. The other centre-back is Leo Ostigard, who never made an appearance for the club after spending 4 years on loan at clubs such as St Pauli, Coventry City, Stoke City and Genoa whilst at Brighton. They managed to sell him for £5 million, and he made 8 appearances for Serie A winners Napoli last season. If you have learned something new in this video, a sub to the channel would be of great help and allows me to keep making this kind of content. Getting back to the video, playing in right back for Brighton's most expensive team is Love Island star Ben White, who is one of Brighton's most successful graduates in the Brighton Academy. After only playing 36 times in his 7-year spell at the club, he was sold to Arsenal for a whopping £50 million. The first CDM in the team is Moises Caicedo, the most expensive Premier League transfer of all time, who only spent 2 years at Brighton, joining at the age of 19 in 2021 before getting his £115 million move to Chelsea 2 years later. Todd Boehly absolutely loves buying a Brighton player for well over the odds. The next CDM is Yves Bissouma. Unlike a lot of the other players who were shipped out on loan when joining Brighton, Bissouma managed to make well over 100 appearances for the club. Brighton sold the talented Mali international for just £25 million to Spurs, which is a bit of a bargain and is blossoming under Big Ange this season. The left attacking midfielder is Belgium superstar Leandro Trossard, who stayed at Brighton for 4 years, helping them get them to the position they are in now. Arsenal bought him in the January transfer window to help them win the title. Trossard was sold to Arsenal for £30 million. Next up is a player who is still playing at Brighton, but due to his silky dribbling skills and abundance of quality, I don't think Brighton will be able to keep hold of him, and that player is Keira Mitoma, and have even chucked a Porsche at him for winning Brighton's Player of the Month award. Mitoma has a transfer value of around £50 to £70 million and can see a club like Manchester City going in for him. The central attacking midfielder is World Cup winner Alexis McAllister, who spent 4 years at the club, gaining 98 appearances. In his last season at Brighton, he finished as top goal scorer with 10 goals and Brighton's Player of the Year, and was a massive part in Brighton finishing 6th last season and securing them Europa League football. However, he signed for Liverpool for £35 million. The final player in the team is also a current Brighton player, and that is Evan Ferguson, who has scored 4 goals in the first 4 Premier League games for Brighton. And despite his age of 18, he already has the world's best clubs in for him, and I think will go for around £100 to £120 million. This is how the final squad looks. And the total cost of the squad is over £500 million. And the profit that Brighton have made from just these 11 players alone, including that they sell Mitoma and Ferguson for the realistic prices I suggested, is a ridiculous £491.9 million profit. If you got to the end of the video, comment where this Brighton side, if they managed to keep all of their best players, would finish this season in the league. And if you enjoyed this video, why not watch another? And as always, see you on the next one.